Is live on the Odyssey app is KFXX, KWJJ, HD2 Portland, 1080, The Fan.
By the way, should we change that name? It's too late now.
An Odyssey sports station. Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
First on The Fan, the Blazers dove into the deep waters on day one of the NBA draft, making a deal before the Hawks were put on the clock. They will send the number 14 pick, the rights to Bub Carrington, along with Malcolm Brogdon, a future first and 2 future second-round picks to the Wizards for forward Denny Advia, who's been in the league for 4 years. That deal expected to be executed July 6th. Then Joe Cronin used his number 7 overall pick to take 7'2" center Donovan Clingan out of the University of Connecticut. Top 2 picks came from France. Zachary Risache went first to the Hawks. The Wizards took Alex Sarr. Biggest surprises of the draft: Memphis taking Zach Edey at number 9, and Dalton Knecht falling to the Lakers at number 17. Round 2 gets underway this afternoon, 1 o'clock, full coverage over on 910 ESPN. Portland, elsewhere in the NBA, multiple reports indicating OG Anunoby set to sign a 5-year max deal to stay with the Knicks when free agency begins. It's valued at $212 million. PGA Tour is in Detroit this week. The Rocket Mortgage Challenge, log jam at 3 under par. Cam Young, Jason Duffner, Nate Lashley among those in the lead. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand at the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan.
Last year, I spent more money on spilled liquor in bars from one side of this world to the other than you made.
It's time for Dirt and Sprague.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo!
With Andy Dirt Johnson and Brendan Sprague.
Wheeling dealing, limousine right, jet flying, son of a gun.
Dirt and Sprague on 1080
And I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
The Fan.
All right, welcome back in. Second hour of the radio program. Dirt and Sprague here on 1080 The Fan. Good morning. Happy Thursday to everybody out there. Happy birthday to my wife.
Hey, happy birthday, Mrs. Sprague.
I know.
Look at that.
Happy birthday.
Got myself a cougar.
Where you guys going this weekend? You going out of town for a birthday?
We're going to get tatted today.
Okay,
right
little
after the show.
tattoos.
Yeah, I got to be in Salem by 10:30.
Oh, that's turn and burn.
Oh, yeah. And I
Turn
got to
and
drive
burn.
back to Damascus.
They're closing down I-5 South. When's that happening?
Friday.
Okay, Friday.
It
yeah.
is between Terwilliger and Highway 99 there after Capitol
yeah.
Highway.
Gotcha, all right.
And then tomorrow we're heading over to a wolf sanctuary in the middle of...
What? Come again?
There's a wolf sanctuary.
Where you just go look at wolves?
Yeah, you go learn about animal conservation, and they show you on a guided tour. It's kind of like Jurassic Park. It's like you hope the animals are seen.
Yeah.
And taking our kids to that, and then going to Newport for a night, because Newport might be the best coastal town there is in Oregon.
Yeah, to get that hot debate going again.
And then we'll come back on Saturday.
I saw a video recently. There was one of those like wilderness retreats, and they were looking at some lions, and the lions were getting it on right in between the trucks.
Nice.
And I thought about pulling the audio because the sound of the male lion at finish, just phenomenal.
Just a big roar.
Yeah.
Or is it like a...
Basically, yeah. It sounded very human. And then the lady lion, the lioness, kind of turned around and growled at him a little bit and was like, "That was it." And he was like, "Yeah, that's it. That's all I got."
Did it move when Joe found out Donovan Clingan fell to 7?
Yes, it did. It did for that.
Oh, my God.
When Ron Holland went, where did he go?
5
to Detroit. That was the one where you knew, like, all right, there's a chance that this could happen here.
Yeah, and then Charlotte was talking about trading with Memphis. Memphis really wanted some Donovan Clingan in their life.
They wanted a big, and they ended up with Zach Edey.
Hey, I'm all about it. I'm rooting for Zach Edey, man. I'm a big Edey guy. And Charlotte ended up going Tijan Salon at number 6. So they're taking a flyer on a very raw prospect. That's the other part of all this. People not happy about the trade. I think most people are cool with the trade.
Yeah.
I think
you're debating semantics of how much you gave up, the value of picks, the value in 2029 first. That's what you're debating. Nobody can disagree with wanting a 6'9" wing that could play defense and last year could shoot the ball.
But if they would have taken Tijan Salon, I said yesterday, we'd probably come in and say, we get it, take a swing.
Yeah, take a flyer.
Boy, is he a raw prospect.
Sure.
Very raw prospect. So Charlotte goes that direction. Portland gets Donovan Clingan. We'll get the audio in a second here from old Joe Cronin last night. But just your thoughts of knowing that, like, hey, we're going to get Donovan Clingan, the big man that everybody mocked us with. He did fall to us, how you feel about that.
It's funny how when we this whole mock stuff started and we began looking into the draft and where guys were going to go, there were a lot of folks who just kind of rolled their eyes at mock drafts. And we said something the first time the mock drafts came out. A lot of them you can just disregard. Throw them out. They do not matter. There was one guy that matters, and it is because he has a relationship with somebody in the front office for Portland, and that is Jonathan Givony.
Woj is pretty tied into when Woj says something, somebody
is telling them that, right? And so we kept seeing these Givony mock drafts in the last week and a half of them taking Clingan at 7, and yet every time the description was, I don't know if he's going to make it there. He might not make it there. He probably won't be there at 7. But clearly they were having conversations with people in Portland who thought, there's a chance because according to Cronin, they were calling around, seeing, hey, where are you guys going to go? Is anybody liking Clingan? Should we move up? Should we stand pat? And basically the intel that they got, I think it made them believe that Clingan was going to fall to them, and their plan ended up being executed. And I have zero issue with the pick whatsoever. I said yesterday, you get Connect, you get Clingan, you take a flyer on a guy. There's not many picks that I'm going to come in here and criticize today outside of one, and thankfully he went number 9. Sanity prevailed.
Yeah.
And so you got a center who I think can be a part of your long-term future. I'm not the biggest DeAndre Ayton guy, never have been. I think he's kind of hollow numbers on a bad team, and I hope you try and deal him at the trade deadline. Not to mention his bloated contract. So finding a young center that I think better fits with Scoot and Shaden and probably has a better attitude and a better work ethic, I'm all for it, and I thought the pick was great.
Does the injury history concern you?
I mean, it always does with centers, right? Somebody tweeted immediately after the pick I saw was Donovan Clingan announced out for the 24-25 season with a stress fracture. It's like, oh, God, here we go again.
Well, let's not do that.
I know. Let's not go
do
there.
That to the big man.
Let's not go there.
We had Mike Richmond, the homie, on yesterday, and I think it was you. You asked him about the fit. DeAndre Ayton is still the center here if they took Donovan Clingan. Here was Mike Richmond of Locked On Blazers.
I don't think it means much for DeAndre Ayton's immediate term. Like, I don't think they need to trade him in July if they draft a center, because it's maybe irresponsible to go into an NBA season with, like, Donovan Clingan, Duop Reeve, and Rob Williams as your center core. But I will say if you expend a high draft pick on a center in this draft, particularly Clingan or Edey, and particularly Clingan, because I don't know that Edey projects as like a 35-minute-a-night guy in the league, but maybe I'm wrong and Sprague's right. I think it just means that the long-term, medium-term future of DeAndre Ayton is probably not with the Blazers. He has this year and one other year under contract, and the following year under contract. If they were to take a center at 7, I think it would signal that his days are numbered, although I do believe he would play out the remainder of this season, and they'd figure it out after that.
On the Instagram post of Clingan going to Portland, the bottom comment caught a lot of people's attention. Old DeAndre Ayton putting up the praise God emojis saying, yes, sir. So A lot of people were like, we already have a center, man. How's it going to make him feel?
Yeah.
He posted to social media that he was pretty happy about it. Here is Danny Hurley on Donovan Clingan going to Portland. This was him on ESPN Radio.
Well, I mean, he was from Bristol, and if we didn't get him, my whole staff was getting fired. Right? They were all out, and he's an incredible young man. Obviously, he anchored, the best offense in the country, and he anchored the best defense in the country. And it's just so cool to see him going to Portland. I know Portland loves him, and I know there was another really big, great center that played there in Bill Walton, so it's exciting.
Shout out our Bill Walton center that he pulled from the 70s there.
We had one time. We had a good center in the past.
Don't short Sabas.
That's true. That's true.
It's Sabas.
Very true.
They had to have been ecstatic internally. It's why I said yesterday, like, you got a 6'9" wing who you like the Dalton Connect thing, right? Like, everybody knows that's listened to this show. I like Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
I do. But, like, it's interesting that we way overpaid for the wing, and I like Dalton Connect. I've never seen Dalton Connect play in the NBA.
Nope.
And for all the, like, well, Denny Avdia is 1 year sample, so I don't know, man. How many years did Dalton Connect play at Tennessee?
1.
Uno.
And where did he play before Tennessee?
Northern Colorado.
Where they have juggling as a sport.
They're in the Big Sky. They play Portland State in their conference.
There you go.
They have juggling as a sport.
Juggling is one of their sports.
Not a lot of outside time in
Where
Greeley,
did that
Colorado.
random fact come
I
from?
think or maybe it was his JUCO, but somebody put up a school he played at. It was like sports they have, and juggling was one of them.
You're telling me there was a chance I could have gone pro?
And if you look at Avdia, he increased his scoring output every year he's been in the league. And when he stepped into full-time starting role, his assist to turnover ratio has been consistent, just under 2-to-1. So he's a playmaker.
He's in the 80th percentile in rim finishing.
He's
or
a
spot-up
decent
shooting.
free throw shooter, about 74%. So he's not going to kill you there. I would think if you want him to make more plays, he will get to the line more often. He could probably get that closer to 80%. He's everything that Dalton Knecht is with 4 years of NBA experience.
That's kind of what my point was. Like, as much as I like Dalton Knecht, and I think Knecht actually landed in a great spot. If you're going to fall to LeBron and AD. Yes,
Perfect
please.
spot.
And his coach was basically Dalton Knecht. I don't know if Dalton Knecht will ever have these averages. And that's why you pay a little bit of in some people's minds, a little bit of a premium for it. You are getting the wing that you saw do it in the league versus standing pat, using the 14th pick in a bad draft, and taking the guy that you haven't seen do it in the league. And I think that's kind of why I like this. That's why yesterday I said I thought they got the wing, they got a wing that they like, and they got the player that they liked the most on their board. Yesterday, for the Crone Zone, was a good draft day. You don't have to like it. You can think it's all going to blow up in their face and not succeed. That's okay. But for them internally, I promise you, they were celebrating. Yesterday was a great day in their eyes.
Absolutely. I would say on the Clingan front, the main questions that I have about him are, you mentioned the injury stuff. Like, just whenever you get a 7-footer, staying healthy, obviously a priority. And I'm just really curious to see how they go about the minutes and how much volume he's playing. You know, that was the thing about him at UConn. Year one, he didn't start. He was the backup, and he only played like 13 minutes a game. He was not in there a ton. And he was a good reserve. They won a national championship. He steps into the starting role in year two. And even as a starter, I mean, he was only playing barely 20 minutes a night.
I think it was just over 20.
Just over 20 a night. And so some of those games are foul trouble. Some of that game is just, we're blowing people out, so we only need him 20 minutes a night. Right? So there's different reasonings for that. Of just the high volume nature, the conditioning aspect, and what kind of workload can you eventually put on him. I think you're in a good spot with Ayton in the short term to say, we don't need you to start right away. You're going to come in as our backup big. I don't see him and Ayton fitting as, I saw a lot of the Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert stuff last night.
That's different.
That's completely different. Gobert is a defensive big who can protect the rim. Karl Anthony Towns is more of an offensive guy who can space the floor. That's why they can yin and yang. DeAndre Ayton and Donovan Clingan are not that. They are, neither of them are standing out of the three-point line knocking down shots like Karl Anthony Towns is. So that fit on the floor at the same time is going to be unique, and I think that's where you can give him a little bit of a runway to see where he goes and how long it takes him to get to that point where he's able to play 30, 35 minutes a night, because that's just something that he has not been asked to do yet at a high level of basketball.